Five.
Attached to the tax.
Doug's not back yet.
This is, but reality, it's just. She
Bring your
saw
side
that.
in.
Yeah, it's been, it's like.
Other folder.
I think we can talk about, or it's just a.
It's a paper clip there.
Looks like that's it.
We'll have some more on the yellow folder. Okay. 40 documents.
Yeah, yeah.
People bring people to live. You know, once it's done, don't follow.
Local income tax, if I work in Ohio and I'm taxed in Ohio, do I still pay it in Indiana?
Usually those factors will get credits for. Or the dust, yeah.
Reduces your taxes in Indiana.
The state used to cover that different.
It doesn't do it anymore.
Right.
Yeah. It being 5 o'clock and a few minutes after. The quorum present, I'll call this meeting to order. And all rise, please. Pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sue, is my mandatory statement in here? And do I have to do it at the beginning? Okay. Thanks. As a recipient of federal funds in support of Dearborn County's efforts to ensure non-discrimination and equal access to all its citizens, the county gathers statistical data regarding participants in county activities. Therefore, we've provided a voluntary Title VI public involvement survey at this meeting. You're not required to complete the survey. However, the form is anonymous and will be used solely for the purpose of monitoring our compliance with Title VI and the ADA. Thank you, Sue. And as indicated in the notice of executive session, this meeting was to discuss interviews and negotiations with industrial or commercial prospects or agents of industrial or commercial prospects by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, the Office of Tourism Development, the Indiana Finance Authority, and Economic Development Commission, a local economic development organization or governing body of a political subdivision which is classified confidential by state and federal statutes. Also indicated in the published notice of executive session, the discussions during the executive session dealt with issues deemed confidential, subject to Indiana code, which pertains to discussing strategy with respect to the purchase or lease of real property by the governing body up to a time or contract or option or purchase to lease is executed by the parties. No other matters except for those which this executive session was called for were discussed during the executive session. Thank you. There is no action from the executive session. In your packet, you've received copies of the minutes for the August 11, 2025 meeting and for the special meeting on August 25th. And at this time, I'll ask you, are there any additions or corrections to either of those sets of minutes? If not, entertain request for approval, motion for approval.
I motion to approve the minutes from the August 11th meeting.
There's a motion to approve the minutes of the August 11th meeting. Is there a second?
Good.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the motion is approved for the August 25th meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Let's see. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is approved. In your packet, you see claims. Claims are outlined in the agenda for a total of $1,410.62. Mostly lawn care and the newspaper.
Motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Uh,
And motion is approved. Claims are approved. Today we have a representative from Baker Tilly to discuss the tax impact of the Redevelopment Commission establishing a new TIF on two parcels containing whitewater processing. Andrew Mauser from Baker Tilly, and at this point, I'll turn it over to you. If you would, give us pass the information.
Sure, absolutely. And does everyone have a copy? I think these made it in your packet, but should have a copy of the impact statement, and then there's also a single page that would be right behind that.
How many of those do you have?
I have plenty here. I think
Oh, okay.
20 copies.
It may be helpful for the people in the audience to use them to go along.
Leave it up here. Thank you for having me this evening. Andy Mauser with Baker Tilly. We serve as financial advisor to the Redevelopment Commission. What I would go through here with you this evening is what's known as a tax impact statement. This is a statutory requirement for any new or amendments to existing TIF allocation areas. This is something we took action on at your August Redevelopment Commission meeting on the amendment of the West Harrison TIF, and then the potential establishment of this new whitewater processing allocation area. That's a multi-step process, so it runs from Redevelopment Commission through several other bodies, and then would end here with Redevelopment Commission potentially at your November meeting. This requirement, we would send this tax impact statement out to all overlapping taxing units. So that would include the county itself, Harrison Township, Sunman Dearborn Schools, Lawrenceburg Public Library, and then the County Solid Waste District. All units would receive a copy of this tax impact statement in October. Again, assuming you would proceed with your final Redevelopment Commission meeting in November. The requirement is for this to be delivered to those units 10 days ahead of that public hearing. So then, assuming you would proceed in November, you would hold a public hearing at that meeting and then would adopt a confirmatory resolution, which would be the final step in the process for the amendment to your existing TIF area and then the creation of the new TIF area. So what this impact statement does is attempts to outline the impacts and also the findings of the actions being taken by the Redevelopment Commission. So this impact statement on the first page outlines some of the history of your TIF area. Your existing West Harrison TIF area was set up in 2006. Again, at your meeting back in August, you adopted a declaratory resolution. And that declaratory resolution did several things. One is it would take these two parcels that would consist of the new project out of your existing West Harrison TIF allocation area. It would establish those parcels into a new, what would be known as the 2025 whitewater processing allocation area. It amends your plan for the larger economic development area. And then the final piece was it would also designate whitewater processing itself as a designated taxpayer. That allows you to capture not only the real property, so the land and the building from any new projects, but it would also allow you to capture personal property, so manufacturing equipment within the facility itself. Your declaratory resolution also talks about your existing West Harrison TIF area. The base value of that area, other than these two parcels being removed, will not be amended, and the lifespan of that existing area will remain as it is. So there's really no other changes to your existing TIF area, other than the fact we're pulling these two parcels out. as I go through the analysis, there would actually be a slight benefit to the existing TIF area from pulling these two parcels out and reestablishing them. As those parcels currently are generating what's known as decrement, so they're currently negative from where they were back in 2006 when that area was established. And then your declaratory resolution also makes the finding that the capture of the personal property would be needed to pay debt service. It's my understanding that tax abatement may be provided to the company for incentive. There's currently no debt obligations contemplated, but this is something you'd have the ability to pledge this TIF to a debt obligation in the future to fund infrastructure improvements in the area. And then it also reiterates your findings in your declaratory resolution that the project will be a public utility and benefit, conforms to the comprehensive plan for the county. And also what's known as the but-for test, that this project is likely to not occur but for the tax increment, with the finding there being that TIF would be needed to assist with the upgrades needed to Moore Drive and other infrastructure in the area to support this project once it's completed. The area, as you'll see in the bottom paragraph on that page, would have a base date of January 1st of 2025, and it would have its own 25-year lifespan. So again, that existing lifespan for West Harrison would not be changed, but this new 2-parcel allocation area would have its own 25-year lifespan, giving it the ability to capture through at least 2050. The analysis also outlines the project again here, the assumption that TIF will potentially be used to make infrastructure improvements to Moore Drive to support whitewater processing's facility, the new manufacturing and food processing facility that would be located there. The analysis also gives just for those units some history on tax increment, how it works, circuit breaker tax credits, and it outlines 3 scenarios that we show at the very back of the analysis. It also on page 4 gives a summary of other benefits that could occur. So obviously the tax increment, that is a capture of the property tax increases from this project. While TIF is a property tax tool, it does not affect local income tax or other revenue streams. So new development in the county has the potential to increase local income tax, food and beverage taxes, motor vehicle highway funds, and other local revenues as well. So the 5th page of the analysis then takes a look at 3 scenarios. The first is essentially what taxes look like in Harrison Township currently. So tax rates, if I'm a taxpayer in Harrison Township, I pay a portion of my taxes to the county, to the township, to the school corporation, the library, and the solid waste district. Total tax rate for me as a taxpayer in Harrison Township would be right around $1.84. And then that across all taxpayers generates little north of $14 million for the county, $14.5 million for the school corporation, and then the other amounts shown for those taxing units there as well. Within Harrison Township, you currently capture growth in the West Harrison TIF area. That's just over $6.4 million of assessed value, and that generates about $119,000 in annual tax increment, which you'll see at the in that box at the bottom of scenario 1. Scenario 2 then assumes the TIF area is established. You're able to utilize TIF dollars to fund the necessary infrastructure, and then the project occurs. You can see very, very minimal impact on the overlapping taxing units. We're not making any changes to the underlying tax base. And as I mentioned, there would be just a very slight change on the base value for those parcels as they would be reset. But what you'll see in scenario 2, on that box at the bottom of scenario 2, you would continue to capture dollars within the West Harrison area. That would actually potentially increase from about $6.4 million of assessed value, generating $119,000 of TIF, potentially to about $6.7 million of assessed value, generating $122,000 of TIF. So again, a slight increase on the existing TIF area, as we would be removing parcels that are negative and resetting those. And then potentially from the real property, so that's the land and the buildings. Once that tax abatement would wear off, the project could potentially generate about $78,000 per year in annual TIF from the real property. And then the personal property will depreciate as that equipment ages. But after depreciation, we're estimating the personal property would generate about $26,000 per year and remain constant at that level, but certainly could generate quite a bit more in early years before it does appreciate down. And then we also show a third scenario, assuming the project did not occur, you did not elect to utilize other redevelopment commission or county revenues to fund the infrastructure needed. And then if the project did not happen, essentially that third scenario would remain the same scenario one. So this is what we would, propose to send out on the redevelopment commission's behalf, and we would take care of delivering that to all the taxing units here in the next month or so. Assuming you would be, okay with us doing so. But then also just for discussion tonight, we did put together what I would call a fourth scenario. So you should have a second page here as well. In the bottom scenario, on that single page analysis, takes a look at if the redevelopment commission or the county were to elect to fund more drive improvements, any other infrastructure in the area from another existing revenue stream. So if you did not TIF this new development, but instead used existing revenues to fund it, and then allow this project to hit the tax base, what would that impact? From the scenario we just discussed, we were, assuming about $78,000 of TIF, $26,000 from the personal property, so a little bit north of $100,000 per year in new TIF dollars. When you capture growth within a TIF area, you are able to capture those tax dollars directly. If you allow that new assessed value to flow through to the tax base, it's not the dollars you're capturing. It's not the dollars you're allowing to flow through, it's really the assessed value. So that same $100,000 that you're able to capture within a TIF area to fund that infrastructure need, if that same amount were to flow through to the tax base, you'll see the impact would actually be much more minor. And we're showing about $2,000 in annual increase in revenues to the county itself, and that would be through the county CCD fund. And then because all these taxing units, the county, the township, the schools, the library, the solid waste district are constrained by maximum levy, because this new development would be paying additional taxes, it would actually mean that everyone else within those units would pay slightly less. That impact is pretty minor. You'll see about 0.8 cents. So that $1.84 tax rate within Harrison Township would potentially decrease, but just about $1.83. So what does that mean for taxpayers? That means, potentially a very slight reduction in tax bills. And then for the county, again, potentially a very small increase in tax revenue from that CCD fund. Again, with county and all the other taxing units constrained by that maximum levy, it would not necessarily mean $100,000 in new tax revenue. So again, for funding the infrastructure, TIF is really your most efficient tool to do so. So I'd be glad to answer questions on tax impact statement, or again, that kind of illustrated scenario that we put together here for this evening.
A question for you.
Sure.
I think this might be a misprint, but I think this is supposed to be scenario 4. And then has this listed as scenario 4, which I think is the same as scenario 2.
You're correct. Yeah, that should be scenario 4 right here.
That was in there.
Or repeated scenario 2. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So that just affects just the single page analysis, really that bottom scenario is what I was referring to as scenario 4.
So scenario 4 on the sheet is actually scenario 2, and scenario 3 on the bottom is actually scenario 4.
Correct. Yes, the scenarios 1 and 2 match from sheet to sheet.
Any questions from the commission?
Yeah, yes, sir. As an appointment from county council, there were a couple questions. One was, does the TIF have to stay out there for that length of time, or could it be shortened? When it's put into play, or could it be shortened after it's put into play?
Sure, TIF areas have a statutory maximum, but there's no minimum life to a TIF area. So Redevelopment Commission, we've seen certain places around the state that may set a TIF area and only give it a 15-year life. I would say what's more common is for Redevelopment Commission or a county to designate a TIF area, designate it for the full 25 years. But if it's no longer needed at year 10 or year 15, that's really an annual decision the Redevelopment Commission could make, either to end the area or to pass the assessed value back.
This commission could make that decision.
Correct.
Okay, and then the other question was, is the 0.48 Dearborn County tax rate there, would that stay steady for that length of time?
You're talking about the 48 cents for the county unit.
Yeah.
So this analysis really looks, assuming things don't change from year to year. The county's able to grow its property tax levy every year. Your assessed value obviously has the ability to grow every year. To the extent you're growing at the same rate that your property tax levy is currently can only grow up to 4% per year. So if your tax base continues to grow at 4%, that county tax rate should stay around 48 cents.
Okay.
If you start to grow faster than that 4%, that you can grow your levy year over year, that tax rate may come down. I mean, if you ever to see growth slow or, see a decline in your tax base, that tax rate could. But again, that assumes it stays constant from 2025 levels.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Anything else from the commission? Mr. Mauser has another county he's dealing with at 6 o'clock. Normally at the end of our meetings, we offer an opportunity for members of the audience to ask questions. And since Mr. Mauser may not be here then, I'd like to do that at this time. So if there is anyone in the audience that would like to ask a question, we'd entertain that now.
Thank you for the flexibility.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Annie? Thanks.
It's something that we need to take some sort of action on, or it's just informing Mr. Mauser to move forward with.
At this point, this is just information. We've advertised. We own 3 acres up next to the hospital. We've advertised for its sale. At this point, there's nothing to report. We're going to new business. Bear Becker.
The Mark Rosenberger, Bear Decker. I'll just go down the bullet points as presented on your agenda here.
Mhm.
The West Harrison 74 eastbound ramp, I have nothing new to add on that or to add reference to that item. The West Harrison Moore Drive and Railroad Crossing. I did get a slide presentation real quick here. If it's not going to work, I'll have hard copies also, just to get you up to speed where I'm at on this thing. While they're getting that together, Anthony and I did speak on the construction and maintenance agreement that the board approved last meeting. And I need to get a signature on that.
Okay.
So the end of this meeting, if I catch up and you get a signature on that.
Good.
So I had contact with Manesh, and I do have the final guy that I'm going to be dealing with. His name is Cameron Smith. He's the final guy. He's like the ninth guy that I went through with the railroad. So he did give me a little bit of direction. So that if we get this signed and sent off to them, then we can get moving on interaction with him, and that sounds like a decent guy to work with. So on the screen, you can see here. Do you have the other drawings?
Yeah, I've got all 3 of them.
Yeah, go to the one on the left. So currently, and I can give you copies. Would you gentlemen like to have copies? I can give it to you right now.
Yeah.
Pass this on down.
Thank you.
I'll take one myself, actually. Okay, what plan you're seeing here is it's basically a site layout and utility plan that we have generated And I've worked through a couple of these iterations with Todd Listerman in terms of the road network and all that. So what we're proposing is a 30-foot wide road, the main long drag road of it, and then it would taper down to a 20-foot where it would tie into the existing road that goes south. And also the width of the road that actually connects to Harrison Brookville, we have it 35 feet. Just because of the traffic movement. You can see on there how a truck would queue for the railroad line before it would exit. That's what's dictated the location of where we have this, the main line road going through there. So what's proposed is just to connect into the whitewater processing plant. I forward these plans that we're in conversations with Maxwell Construction that's building that road through there also. So we have to meet up, so to speak. So what you see on the drawing is that the shaded area, that's going to be the responsibility of the railroad to do that improvements. That's what I'm proposing. So after this meeting, I'm going to forward this to Cameron Smith so that he can get moving on his, so we can have interaction. So this will be like a teamwork effort, basically. So the first page is really kind of shows the pavement detail, the geometry, the layout. And the second page is the actual grading that I'm working on right now. Currently on the existing road, there's an existing culvert that drains the north area between the railroad and the existing Moore Drive. So we're looking to propose the same scenario just to drain that particular area. When there really isn't much flow that'll be coming through there, when it hits, it goes into the ground mostly. So that's what we're proposing right now. And I may, do a couple adjustments on it. So I'm looking to maybe just have this thing finished in the next couple weeks here. And I'm going to work with Anthony on the bid documents to get the bid documents set up for this. And then at the next meeting, you guys can approve everything and we can go ahead and get the thing paid, try to get this thing out the door finished. So that's what it is right now. If you go back to the third sheet and fourth sheet. Usually that third sheet. Have that one. That's it. What we're proposing with this new road is going to require a 1.229 acre parcel to be split off to the Redevelopment Commission. And that's something I think we may want to ask also if we want to, if it actually goes to redevelopment. I'm assuming it goes to Redevelopment Commission, like all the other projects, all the other properties. Gain in that. Or do we give it, what does it go directly to the county?
Well, it's a county road. Wouldn't that go to the county?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So Dennis, you think that's
I think it would go to the commissioners because it's
Yeah.
gonna be for road right of way purposes.
So as you can see on that drawing, we're proposing that 1.229 acre parcel. We have colorized some of the areas where we have the US 52 road right of way, and then also the railroad right of way, and then the existing Moore Drive right of way. So it's hashed in green through there. So I had submitted this to Nicole to get direction on what we want to do, to do the certified survey, get that done, and then also just go through a tech review. I mean, I'm assuming that's what we do because we're not doing a project, we're just building the road. So that's what we're proposing right now. That's what we have. I'd like, Dennis, you're in the, you do this. I'm assuming that's what we really want to do, just to kind of go through the tech review.
That's probably fine if that's what Nicole
Yeah.
suggested. We'll go with that.
So that is where we're at right now. So if we go ahead and I'll submit this certified survey to Dave Jeffries. He'll review it.
Probably just go ahead and submit it to zoning. They'll take it every day.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
Just go ahead and submit it to planning and zoning,
Okay,
and we'll get copies in my office from them.
okay, we can do that. So I'm waiting for Nicole to get back to me on it. I want to make sure I get what she thinks need to be given, so. And we'll go ahead and submit that to them, so. We're gonna button this thing up next week, or this week and next week, and report back to the board. Is there any questions on this right now at all, or?
It appears none.
Okay.
Downtown bright infrastructure, you doing anything there?
The right infrastructure. Well, let me go through the list here real quick. So the West Harrison NDOT clearing permit, I have nothing new to add on that. Nothing new on that. Bright infrastructure. I did speak to Chris Manjo, and he is still trying to, they're looking at selling that property to another entity. And he doesn't want to make any commitments in that. So, but if St. E's retains the property still, that falls through, he'll entertain the possibility of putting detention if this board wants to pay for a detention facility. So there's really three options: stay the course, finish out the improvements, and do not provide detention. That's where we were going originally on this thing before most of you guys got involved. Possibly locate an underground storage facility within the right of way of Professional Park Drive. That'll get costly. That'll get real costly. Wait for the sale answer from St. E's and ask to locate underground detention with St. E's and then as the new owner or the new owner possibly. So Dennis, I know you weren't here last month, but Chris Manjos, who I've been talking to, when we went out there, he's just not making any commitments yet. But I think Nash will agree, detention will dramatically help out right now. So those other lots, that's not going to be required detention. All that hard surface is going to go down there even faster. And it could be detriment to some of the streams and swales downstream on those homes. So that's something we have to contend with. I don't think it's like it has to be something done right now. I think this board could wait till see what it's saying he does, and then we can you can make that decision then. Okay. So, any questions? Any more questions than that?
I guess. So you said recommend wait to see what St. East does.
Yeah.
Is there any timeline on that?
Yeah, he didn't give me a timeline.
Okay.
He didn't give me a timeline, so. And I did forward that on to Mike and Jim, the email that I received from him.
I mean, we don't even have any cash in the Bright TIF allocation unit yet, so there's not any sense in getting in a big rush. And I think detention would be very beneficial to that area. And yeah, I think we just see what happens and hope for the best.
I agree with that. So.
Did you have anything, Jim? That maybe you had something. Okay. Any other questions? Thanks, Mark.
That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
One Dearborn report. Gage.
Nothing really new or major to report besides what you said earlier, Jim, which is that the town council approved the application, the ready application to be submitted to the IEC. So we submitted that to Cersei, our grant administrator. Put that in the grant total, put that on it. So on that's all I got.
Thank you. Attorney report.
Just working on the whitewater processing allocation area. I don't have anything else to do.
Thank you. Other business. Our next meeting is scheduled to fall on a holiday. So we're proposing changing that meeting till October 13th.
13th is when it's scheduled. It would be either the 14th or another date.
We do it
Oh,
on,
it's scheduled on the. Okay, I read this wrong.
if we do it on the 14th, we would have to be out of here by 6, wouldn't we? Because BZA.
Let me look at my calendar.
I'm assuming, yeah.
I mean, I know, well, actually, you know what? They don't have an October meeting.
Yeah, I don't know.
I talked to Dina, they don't have an October meeting.
Okay.
October. It's Columbus Day and Indigenous Peoples' Day. On the date of our next meeting, which was supposed to be the 13th. So courthouse can be closed that day, right? So we'll need to pick another day for our meeting. If you'd like to do it on a Monday, we could do it on the 20th.
Monday before the 6th. Does that not give us enough time?
That'd be Russian.
Hmm.
20th, make it a week later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Twentieth,
Twentieth be okay? Would someone make a motion to change this meeting date?
So move.
Second.
Thank you, sir. All in favor, say aye. Motion passed. We will meet on the 20th next month.
Jim,
Yes, sir.
did we need to address the signage for sale at our properties? Or-
Yes. Gage, are there two properties we were talking about there? We're talking about the hospital property. And wasn't there Aurora Tiff at 1 acre out on Randall Avenue? Thank you. And one Dearborn was wanting to know if we wanted them to put signs on the property that they're for sale.
I'm not trying to sound smart or anything, but how would someone know if we didn't have signage out there?
We have an agent that's trying to sell them for
Oh,
us.
okay.
But
Yeah. I would think signage would be needed, maybe. Is it
one
free?
Dearborn thinks it's a good idea.
Is it free?
Put it that way. So. Might not cost much for a sign and maybe we'll get some property sold.
Sounds like a good idea. Every piece of property I've ever seen for sale generally has a sign on it, so.
Would you like to make a motion?
I motion to put signs on,
All of our properties
all
that
of
are
our
for
property
sale?
for sale.
A second?
I'll second.
You want to talk about this anymore?
Yeah, if we're
Yeah, go ahead.
making a motion to put signs up, are we gonna have a budget allotted for that?
We got anything in our budget that would cover that?
We have advertising, but it would come out of the general fund. Well,
And-
yeah, because the property in Aurora, you could take it out of the TIF probably, but
Yes.
there's no TIF for the one up by the hospital.
So if we take it out of the general fund, do we have to get somebody to approve that expense?
No, because we have a line item for advertisement.
Oh, okay. So we can pay for it.
That's good. How much are we willing to spend is the question I'm after.
How much does the sign cost?
Well, I mean, we could go to Walmart and buy a 59 cent for sale sign. Are we gonna have signs made or we wanna say not to exceed a
Would you
certain
like to
number?
suggest that maybe we spend less than $100?
That's gonna be tough for
I don't
a
know.
custom.
I don't know how much a sign costs either.
Yeah.
A standard, just like if you were to just buy like a pre-made real estate sign, just a generic one, that just said property for sale and a nice one would run you probably $60, $70 a piece for a small one. Okay, so if you get a custom made sign, it can cost substantially more than that. So I don't know how big you're talking, but
Mhm. If you'd like to limit the expense on this, we can add it to the motion.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You mentioned, the real estate agent.
Mhm.
Are we contracted with someone?
Yes,
on
we
it?
are.
Would they supply a sign?
They have not. They're a commercial real estate, who we got? I don't even remember their name.
not all those properties are, correct? The ones that they
Aren't
are,
they? Sorry. Okay, I was wrong. These two properties are not with an agent.
yeah, so we'd have to fly the sign.
Yeah.
So, like,
It's
Deal.
those properties up
Election
in West
lights
Harrison
on.
that we've got contracted.
you can get a sign-a-rama fairly cheap. If you
Should
wanted
we-
something
should
on
we
one
get
that
a-
has pretty
should-
good material.
Maybe upgrade a
Well,
sign.
Should we get a quote first?
Well, we just set a limit at $250 to see where that goes.
Would you like, who made that motion?
I did.
Would you like to put a $250 limit on it?
Yes, I would.
You got that, Sue?
I got it.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
I
Opposed? Never asked that before today. And the motion's approved.
That for each sign or all signs? That for two signs or one sign?
The whole
Instead of
budget,
limit,
right?
$250, so.
That's,
That's
okay.
the whole budget, that's it.
Tell me something. I just went, so what was our answer?
That's the whole budget, right?
The whole budget.
So if we get one
$250.
sign for $250, we have one sign. If we.
Whole
do signs,
budget's
we're gonna go back and forth. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, are we having fun yet? So at this point, I'd like to ask you if there's anyone in the audience who has any questions about anything that occurred today or any other time? Or any comments on anything to do with redevelopment? And if so, I'd give you the opportunity to do that now. And if not, and there are no actions taken by this commission, this meeting is adjourned.
Do you have anything to say?
Carlos?
So do we have anything to sign?
No.